Is it recording?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, Anandi, what I want to do is to go through the Saranaloka, the Aloka Vihara chanting book, and talk a little bit about morning and evening chanting, reflections, formal requests, what the Buddha actually recommended, and then start some of the chanting. So, what I just want, I'll leave this picture here because it's a beautiful picture of Prajnaparamita.
Mhm.
And let me just do one more thing here. Um, um, a technological thing. Anyway, I can't figure it out. Let me see if I can do closed captioning. That's going to be hard to do closed captioning. Let me just see here, remote control participants. Nope, can't do it. So what I want to do is talk a little bit about what the Buddha had said, and uh, and then go through some of the chanting. So um, part of the reason why it's really common for traditions to use chanting is
Mhm.
that it turns out that regular repeated recitation of certain key ideas is really helpful for stabilizing the mind, for learning information, and for evoking different kinds of mind states. So I remember telling you the story. I'm going to mute you because there's some background noise. So I remember telling you the story that one of the most common chants that we do, and the one that we're going to learn today, the story is that Sariputta, who was the right hand man of the Buddha, one of his chief disciples and an arahant, a fully awakened one, he was one of five siblings, all of whom were arahants, and his mother was rather less than impressed with all of her kids, thinking that somehow, because they were alms mendicants and they were not interested in worldly things and they didn't have good careers and made a lot of money, that she didn't think that they were living a skillful life. So Sariputta, before he died, went to go say goodbye to her. And while he was talking to her, all of these different celestial beings came to visit him in their paying of respect to him before he actually passed away. And so what happened was is that here was a person who had zero faith in the Buddhist teachings and thought that her son's life was a washout because he was not living according to the values that she ascribed. And so when these different beings came, and she was like, "Who's that? Who was that? What was that? You know, why are they coming?" And then when Lord Brahma came to pay respects, and Sariputta said that this is Lord Brahma, who she was a devotee of. And when Lord Brahma came to pay respects to her son, then something in her really shifted. And every time one of these beings would come and pay respects, she would say, "But um, these are nothing compared to my teacher." And so then what followed was him speaking the Iti Piso reflections, which went through the different qualities of the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. So what I want to do is to go through that with you now, and let's see if we can find it. And it's the morning chanting is what we are going to do. So let's do that now, and I will chant in Pali and English. And as you understand and have some sense of how this works, then you can join in with me. So the Pali language and was the language that the Buddha spoke. it was never a written language. And part of the reason why it sometimes is helpful to return to the original language is that over time, translations change. And when you understand the original meaning, then as language changes, you can come back to the original words so that if you understand the Pali language, you can make translations that are more accurate in the context that you're speaking in. So that's one reason. Another reason is that when you say these words in the Pali language, there's something energetic about speaking in the original language that's different than speaking in the English language. So without making it too mystical, the Buddha did say that it was really helpful to learn the teachings in your own language, because obviously being able to understand what they're talking about is really lovely. So I am going to say a little bit about the notation and then go ahead and chant this, and then it'll be recorded and you can have it if you want to use it again. And also the Saranaloka website, which we got this chanting book from, they have excellent audio recordings of all of the chanting that's in this book, or nearly all of the chanting in this book. And the audio chantings connected to this book will make it a lot easier for you to do the chanting. So before I go ahead and chant, I'm going to ask you to unmute and see if you've got any questions or things to share.
So the story that you told about Sariputta, was his mother passing away, or Sariputta was passing away?
Sariputta was passing away, and Sariputta, before he died, wanted to go visit his mother because he thought that of the 5 siblings, he would have the, the most probable chance of being able to convey some sense of faith in the Buddha's teachings.
Yeah, so it's in the deathbed, and I think this is a good example that if parents, they have their own view, then it's really difficult. So this is like a maximum that I can just relate and be okay with it.
That's right. It's extremely unusual that
Yeah.
parents are inspired by their children's example of practice and renunciation. It's extremely unusual. So you can take comfort that all is as the universe ordinarily is in your family circumstance. Nothing is amiss.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
So
all I have, Amma. So yeah.
So if you can mute yourself and then unmute yourself or raise your hand when you've got a question. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through this chanting, and it has the Pali and the English back and forth, so that you can, if you want to learn Pali, you can, but the English is there so that you understand a translation. Yosom Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho, to the Blessed One, the Blessed and Noble One, who fully attained perfect enlightenment. Sawakato yena Bhagavata Dhammo, to the teaching which he expounded so well. Supatipanno yasa bhagavato sawaka sangho, and to the Blessed One's disciples who have practiced well. Dhammayang bhagavantang sadhammang sasangang, to these the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, ime sakare yatarahang aropite abhipujayama, we render with offerings our rightful homage. Sadhu no bhante bhagava suchira parini bodhopi. It is well for us that the Blessed One, having attained liberation, Pachiman Janatanukampa Manasa, still had compassion for later generations. Ime sakare dukatapanna Karabhute patikanhatu. May these simple offerings be accepted. Amakam dikaratam hitaya sukhaya, for our long-lasting benefit and for the happiness it gives us. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagawa, the noble, the perfectly enlightened and blessed one, Buddhang Bhagawantang Abhivademi. I render homage to the Buddha, the Blessed One. Soakato Bhagavata Dhammo, the teaching so completely explained by him, Dhammang Namasami, I bow to the Dhamma. Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho, the Blessed One's disciples who have practiced well, Sanghang Namami, I bow to the Sangha. Andamayang Buddhasa Bhagavato Pupapakanamakarang Karomase. Now let us pay preliminary homage to the Buddha. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Andamayang Buddha Bituting Karomase. Now let us chant in praise of the Buddha. Yoso Tathagato Arahang Samma Sambuddho. The Tathagata is the pure one, the perfectly enlightened one. Vijajarana Sampano, he is impeccable in conduct and understanding. Sugato, the accomplished one. Lokavidu, the knower of the worlds. Anuttaro Purisadhamma Sarati, he trains perfectly those who wish to be trained. Sata Deva Manusanam, he is teacher of devas and humans. Buddha Bhagava, he is awake and holy. Yo imam lokam sadevakam samarakam sabramakam. In this world with its devas, demons and kind spirits, Sasamana Brahmanim Pajam Sadeva Manusam Sayam Abinya Sachikatawa Pavedesi. Its seekers and sages, celestial and human beings, He has by deep insight revealed the truth. Yo dhammang dese siyati kalayanang mache kalayanang pariyosana kalayanam. He has pointed out the Dhamma, beautiful in the beginning, beautiful in the middle, beautiful in the end. Sadang sabhyanjanang kevala paripurnang parisudang brahmacharyam pakasesi. He has explained the spiritual life of complete purity in its essence and conventions. Dhammahang bhagavantang abhipujayami dhammahang Bhagavantang sirasa namami. I chant my praise to the Blessed One. I bow my head to the Blessed One. Andamayang Dhamma Vidudding Karomase. Now let us chant in praise of the Dhamma. Yoso Soakato Bhagavata Dhammo. The Dhamma is well expounded by the Blessed One. Sanditiko, apparent here and now. Akaliko, timeless. Ehipasiko, encouraging investigation. Opanahiko, leading in words. Pachatang veditabo vinyuhi, to be experienced individually by the wise. Dhammahang dhammang abhipujayami dhammahang dhammang sirasa namami. I chant my praise to this teaching. I bow my head to this truth. Andamayang Sangha Bituting Karomase. Now let us chant in praise of the Sangha. Yoso Supatipano Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho. They are the Blessed One's disciples who have practiced well. Ujupatipano Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho, who have practiced directly. Nyayapatipano Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho, who have practiced insightfully. Samijipatipano Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho, those who practice with integrity. Yadidam Chatari Purisa Yukaniya Tapurisa Pugala. That is the 4 pairs, the 8 kinds of noble beings. Esa Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho. These are the Blessed One's disciples. Ahunayo, such ones are worthy of gifts. Bahunayo, worthy of hospitality. Dakinayo, worthy of offerings. Anjali Karaniyo, worthy of respect. Anuttaram punya ketam lokasa, they give occasion for incomparable goodness to arise in the world. Dhammahang sanghang abhipujayami dhammahang sanghang sirasa namami. I chant my praise to this Sangha. I bow my head to this Sangha. Andamayang ratanataya panamagatayo jewa sangwek parikichana patanja banamase. Now let us chant our salutation to the triple gem and the passage of encouragement. Buddha susudo karuna mahanawo. The Buddha, absolutely pure, with ocean-like compassion, Yo chanta Sudha Bharanyana Lochano, possessing the clear sight of wisdom. Loka Sapapu Pakile Sagatako, destroyer of worldly self-corruption. Wandami Buddhang Ahamadarena devotedly indeed, that Buddha I revere. Dhammo Padipo Viyata Sasatuno, the teaching of the Lord like a lamp. Yo Marga Bhaka Madabeda Bindako, illuminating the path and its fruit, the deathless. Lokutaroya Chadada Dadipano, that which is beyond the conditioned world. Wandami Dhammang Ahamadarena, devotedly indeed that Dhamma I revere. Sangho Suketa Bhayatiketa Sanyito, the Sangha, the most fertile ground for cultivation. Yodita Santo Sugata Nupodako, those who have realized peace, awakened after the accomplished one. Lola Pahino Ario Sumeda So, noble and wise, all longing abandoned. Wandami Sangang Ahamadarena, devotedly indeed that Sangha I revere. Iche Wamege Kantapujanayakam, this salutation should be made. Watutayam Wadaya Pasa Visankatam, to that which is worthy. Punyamayayam Amasabupadowa, through the power of such good action. Mahuntu Veta Sabapa Wasidiya, may all obstacles disappear. Itatata gato loke upano arahang sama sambuddho, one who knows things as they are, has come into this world, and he is an arahant, a perfectly awakened being. Dhammo chadesito niyaniko, upasamiko parinibbāniko, sambodhagami sugata bhavedito, purifying the way leading out of delusion, calming and directing to perfect peace, and leading to enlightenment. This way he has made known. Mayantan Dhamman Sutawa Ewang Janama. Having heard the teaching, we know this. Jati Dukkha, birth is dukkha. Jara dukkha, aging is dukkha. Maranam dukkam, and death is dukkha. Soka paridewa dukkha domana supayasa dukkha. Sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are dukkha. Apiyehi sampayogo dukkha. Association with the disliked is dukkha. Piyehi vipayogo dukkha. Separation from the liked is dukkha. Yampi chanalapanti tampi dukkam. Not attaining one's wishes is dukkha. Sankitena panchupadana kanda dukkha. In brief, the five focuses of the grasping mind are dukkha. Sayadidam, these are as follows. Rupupadana kando, identification with the body. Vedanupadana kando, identification with feeling. Sanyupadana kando, identification with perception. Sankarupadana kando, identification with mental formations. Vinyanupadana kando, identification with consciousness. Yesam parinyaya, for the complete understanding of this. Dharamano so Bhagawa, the Blessed One in his lifetime, Evam bahulam sawaketi vineti, frequently instructed his disciples in just this way. Evam bhagavacha panasa bhagavato sawakesu anusasane bahula bhavatati. In addition, he further instructed Rupanganichang, the body is impermanent. Vedana anicca, feeling is impermanent. Sanya anicca, perception is impermanent. Sankara anicca, mental formations are impermanent. Vinyanang anicca, consciousness is impermanent. Rupa anatta, the body is not self. Vedana anatta, feeling is not self. Sanya anatta, perception is not self. Sankara anatta, mental formations are not self. Vinyanang anatta, consciousness is not self. Sabbe sankara anicca, all conditions are impermanent. Sabbe Dhamma anattati, there is no self in the created or the uncreated. Te mayam, all of us. Otina machatiya jara maranena, are bound by birth, aging, and death. Sokehi paridevehi dukehi domana, sehi upaya, sehi, by sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair. Dukkhotina dukkha pareta, bound by dukkha and obstructed by dukkha. Ape vanami masake walasa dukkha kandasa antakiriyam panayatati. Let us all aspire to complete freedom from suffering. Chiraparini Bhutam Pitam Bhagavantang Saranangata. The Blessed One who long ago attained Parinibbana is our refuge. Dhammancha Sanghancha, so too are the Dhamma and the Sangha. Tassa Bhagavato Sasanam Yata Sati Yata Balang Manisakaromang Anupati Pajama. Attentively we follow the pathway of that Blessed One with all of our mindfulness and strength. Sasano patipati. May then the cultivation of this practice Imasa kewala saduka kanda sahanta kiriyaya sangwa datu, lead us to the end of every kind of suffering. So please unmute yourself and let me know what your impressions were of doing that chanting.
It's really nice, Amma. Yeah, I'm encouraged to learn. I'm more interested in learning Pali and learning about it.
So what I forgot to mention is that the chants have three different kinds of chants. There's liturgical chanting, which is bringing forward the qualities of the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha. There's repetitive chanting, where you say something again and again and again. And then there's sutta chanting, which is just the discourses of the Buddha's teachings. So in this chanting, which was the morning chanting, we had a mixture of all three. Well, we had the liturgical chanting of bringing forward the qualities of the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. The Namo Tassa, which was the recitation of the Namo Tassa as a way of repeating the homage to the Buddha. And then the qualities of anicca, anatta, and dukkha, and the blessings of the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. Those were some of the things that come forward in the suttas, which when you repeat them again and again and again, it begins to slowly seep in, just like a tea is infused by staying in warm water and saturating in it for a while.
Very nice, Amma. Yeah.
So, like when you're learning about loving kindness, it's helpful to learn the discourse on loving kindness. When you're learning about the Brahma Viharas, it's helpful to learn the discourse about spreading the four noble abodes in the way that the Buddha taught. But what I didn't share is that when you look at the script in that particular chant, there's a little triangle above, a little triangle below, and that means that the note goes up or the note goes beneath, so that it's based on a three-note system. So if you had heard it or you had a lot of confidence in how the system goes, you could pick it up and learn how to chant it.
Yeah.
So the other context is that, you know, in the Buddhist communities, there are many, many, many different traditions. There's Theravadan traditions, and of the Theravadan traditions, there's Burmese traditions and Thai traditions and Sri Lankan traditions, and they all have their own style of chanting. So this comes from the Ajahn Chah style of chanting. So, and the Ajahn Chah style of chanting is popular in the West amongst some of the insight meditation teachers. So that particular style would be something that you would be able to do the Pali and English the way it's done if you visited any of the Ajahn Chah branch monasteries, or if you visited the Aloka Vihara, you'd be able to do that chanting. Bhante Gunaratana is Sri Lanka,
Yeah.
and he has his own chanting book. And the Sri Lankan style of chanting is different. It's much more melodic.
Like
And
melody, right?
And they chant many, many, many more suttas. So the chanting book is a lot bigger because they have many more suttas in it. And so learning their style of chanting is different than the Ajahn Chahforst tradition style. But both are really good for the purposes of settling the mind, of reflecting on the Dhamma, of bringing forward your faith and your encouragement to remember, why do we practice? What are our aims in practice?
And what about Burmese chanting? I haven't know about Thai, and I just got a little bit idea about Thai, and I have been to Sri Lankan temple the whole night chanting, and they have like very melodious chanting. What about Burmese chanting? How?
It's the least that I know about,
Oh,
but Ayagunasari is Burmese, and her monastery for nuns is in the Southern California desert. And I think she would know more, and other Burmese nuns would know more.
mhm. Yeah, thank you, Amma. I have
So
like
that website has that chanting book, and it has all of the recordings of most of the chants. And what I would love, which I haven't seen a translation for, is a translation and to putting it to English, the Satipatthana Sutta, because that's the main instruction on meditation. It would be awesome if that could be turned into a chant. I tried and was not successful in doing it. It's a very long chant.
chanting. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can do it step by step. Like,
Well, in the Pali language, it's it's something that I have read, but I haven't heard it in the chanting. I don't know it as a chant. And it would be really good to do it as a chant, just to remember again and again and again what the Buddha's instructions were.
yeah.
So I hope this helps you. Let me know if you've got more questions.
So, yeah, this is really helpful. wonderful, Amma. So you'll send me the recording, right,
I'll send
Amma?
you a
Yeah,
recording. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, Amma. So
Okay.
I'll try to learn it and to try to do the chanting. Yeah.
So the chanting is good when you're feeling unsettled. It's a different kind of focus than when you have to focus on your breath. And particularly when you're chanting with another recording, it helps you settle. And because of the chanting allows you to breathe more deeply, then also it's really good for your system. So one of the reasons why it's common practice in a monastery to chant is because it sets up your body, your heart, and your mind for meditation afterwards. So you
So
can do that. You can do that with recordings. And if you want to find out if any of the communities, monastic communities that do chanting are doing online, you can check out the Saranaloka website. You can check out the Dhammadarani website and Ayatataloka. You can check out and see if Ayasantusika is doing it. I personally like the female voices nicer than the monks' voices. But there's lots of monks' monasteries that would also be doing chanting in Pali,
yeah,
and uh, and some of them still may be on Zoom now because of all of the COVID considerations.
yes. So
Okay.
yes, thank you so much, Amma. I was in one part of my mind. I was like, when you were sending all those, I was wanting from like I was wanting to learn from you, and my wish got fulfilled.
Wonderful. And I'm just happy to see you in robes and to see you looking so peaceful.
Thank
And so seeing the radiance of your face. One of the things about shaving your hair is it makes the radiance of your face more visible, and it makes me very happy to see that.
you. Yes, now I find, like normal who are wearing makeups and all. I find more beautiful with the one without the hair.
Yes. Yeah. It was never the case whenever we shaved somebody in the monastery. It was never once the case that a person was less beautiful after they shaved because their radiance was so much more visible. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, Amma. Yeah, that's how because I feel all the nuns are, more people after I did, after I saved it. I find it when I look into the pictures, I find them very beautiful.
Lovely. That's really lovely. Okay. Bye for now. We'll be
Thank
in
you.
touch. Yes, we'll
Thank
be in
you.
touch. Yes.
Thank you, Amma. Thank you.